China's auto industry has experienced an extraordinary transformation over the past few decades, evolving from almost non-existent to becoming the world's largest car producer. In the span of just 40 years, the nation has not only built a highly capable domestic automotive industry but has also become a global force, exporting cars to nearly every corner of the world. Today, China manufactures more cars than any other nation, producing half of the world's vehicles, and has firmly positioned itself to challenge both established and emerging automakers worldwide. Back in the 1980s, China's auto industry was practically non-existent. However, it is now responsible for producing an annual output of over 25 million vehicles, with an additional 15 million cars being exported to foreign markets. In 2023, China exported over 5 million cars to more than 100 countries, making it one of the largest auto exporters in the world. To put this in perspective, this is nearly as many cars as the US is able to sell in a good year, and China's capacity is far from tapped out. It is estimated that the country's car production is 4 times the size of the United States' auto manufacturing capacity, making China a behemoth in the global automotive landscape. This meteoric rise has been driven by a combination of government support, the ambition of Chinese automakers, and a concerted effort to build competitive and affordable vehicles. For many years, Chinese cars were often seen as subpar in terms of quality, design, and technology. However, as the years went by, the quality of Chinese-made vehicles has dramatically improved, with many now offering world-class features that are competitive with vehicles from other leading car makers. A key factor behind this success has been the Chinese government's role in fostering the growth of the industry. Since the 1980s, the Chinese government has allowed foreign automakers to enter the Chinese market, but on the condition that they form joint ventures with local Chinese companies. These partnerships have not only helped foreign brands sell cars in China but have also allowed domestic manufacturers to gain valuable knowledge and experience. Furthermore, the Chinese government has heavily subsidized its own automakers, providing them with the capital needed to ramp up production and innovate. For example, the electric vehicle (EV) giant BYD received $3.7 billion in government subsidies between 2018 and 2022 alone. China's state-driven capitalism model has proven to be an efficient tool for creating competitive industries. The government provides subsidies and other forms of support to both state-owned and private automakers, which enables them to reduce costs and pass on savings to consumers. The result is a highly competitive market where prices are low, and quality is consistently improving. Chinese automakers, such as BYD, Geely, and NIO, have made significant inroads in the electric vehicle market, an area where they are ahead of many Western car makers in terms of both technology and affordability. Chinese EVs are now being sold in markets like Europe and Southeast Asia, and even the United States, though no Chinese-branded cars are yet for sale in the US. While Chinese automakers have been successful in other global markets, the US remains the most lucrative and coveted market for car companies. As of now, the US is the second largest car market in the world, with millions of cars being sold each year. However, Chinese car brands have yet to penetrate the US market on a large scale. There are a few Chinese-owned car companies in the US, such as Volvo, Polestar, and Lotus, but these brands are still perceived as European or, in the case of Volvo, American. In terms of fully Chinese-branded vehicles, the US remains largely untapped. One major obstacle for Chinese automakers looking to break into the US market is the issue of tariffs. The US has imposed significant tariffs on Chinese vehicles in an attempt to shield American manufacturers from the threat of cheap Chinese imports. Currently, tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles stand at 25%, with plans for these tariffs to increase to 100% in 2024. This effectively doubles the price of Chinese-made EVs, making them less competitive in the US market. For example, an EV produced in China could otherwise be priced as low as $11,500, but the tariffs drive up that price significantly, making it less appealing to American consumers. Despite these tariffs, many experts believe that the rise of China's auto industry is inevitable. The Chinese automotive sector has reached a point where it is simply too big and too competitive to ignore. The country's massive manufacturing capacity, ability to produce cars at lower costs, and technological advancements in areas like electric vehicles, autonomous driving, and in-car software put Chinese automakers in a strong position to eventually challenge established US and European brands. In fact, a recent survey found that nearly half of American consumers are already familiar with Chinese car brands, and 76% of those under the age of 40 expressed interest in purchasing a vehicle from a Chinese automaker. The competitive pricing of Chinese cars, particularly in the EV market, is one of the key factors driving their appeal. While traditional internal combustion engine (ICE) vehicles are still dominant in the US, electric vehicles are expected to play a larger role in the coming years, and Chinese automakers are well positioned to take advantage of this shift. Chinese-made EVs are already significantly cheaper than many Western-made counterparts, making them attractive to American consumers who are increasingly interested in affordable electric transportation. In addition to price, Chinese automakers are also ahead of the curve in terms of technology. Many Chinese car companies are incorporating advanced software and connectivity features into their vehicles, making them not only more affordable but also more appealing to tech-savvy consumers. For example, many Chinese-made EVs come equipped with advanced in-car systems, including voice recognition, driver assistance features, and over-the-air software updates, which are areas where US automakers have struggled to keep up. Despite the challenges presented by tariffs, there are other ways for China to make inroads into the US market. One possibility is for Chinese automakers to establish manufacturing plants in the US, similar to the model that Japan and South Korea have used in the past. By setting up production in the US, Chinese companies could avoid tariffs and provide American consumers with cars that are built domestically. This strategy could also create jobs in the US and foster collaboration between Chinese automakers and American suppliers, leading to a more balanced trade relationship. Another alternative would be to explore joint ventures between Chinese automakers and American companies. This approach mirrors what China has done with foreign automakers in its own market and could allow both sides to share the benefits of increased globalization and technological advancements. If American automakers were willing to work with their Chinese counterparts, they could tap into China's manufacturing prowess while benefiting from the lower production costs and innovative business models that Chinese companies bring to the table. While the US is still resistant to Chinese cars, the presence of Chinese-owned auto suppliers in the US is already widespread. More than 100 Chinese-owned automotive companies are operating in the United States, with a strong presence in both Detroit and Silicon Valley. These companies supply parts, technology, and other essential components to American automakers. However, Chinese-made cars have yet to make their way onto American roads, despite the fact that Chinese automakers are already laying the groundwork for their eventual entry into the US market. The rise of China's automotive industry presents both an opportunity and a challenge for the US market. While tariffs may slow the progress of Chinese carmakers, they are unlikely to stop them entirely. With their competitive pricing, high-quality vehicles, and technological innovations, Chinese automakers are poised to reshape the automotive landscape in the US in the coming years. The real question is not whether Chinese cars will enter the US market, but when and how the American auto industry will respond to this new and formidable competitor.